Most people believe they're one big breakthrough away from changing their life. A 2022 Gallup study found that 68% of people say they have the potential to be more successful, but fewer than 14% have changed a core daily habit in the last year. But here's the thing, winners aren't waiting for a breakthrough. They already found it. It's tiny. It's daily. It's invisible to everyone watching them. Today I'm breaking down the exact 7 habits that create the gap. The most talked about habit in performance research is consistency. Every self-help book circles back to it. But here's what most people misread. Consistency doesn't mean doing something every single day without fail. According to a University College London study, habit formation takes an average of 66 days, not 21, as the popular myth claims, and the people who successfully built lasting habits weren't the ones who never missed. They were the ones who never missed twice. That's the real number, not streaks. Recovery speed. If you've been measuring your consistency by perfection, you've been using the wrong ruler. The gap between winners and everyone else isn't that winners never fall. It's that they get back up before the gap has time to widen. Before the world sets the agenda, they do. Research from the American Psychological Association links morning cortisol spikes triggered by checking phones within minutes of waking to higher reported stress levels throughout the day. Winners don't check the phone first. They don't read the news first. They don't open email first. They do one intentional thing first. It could be silence. It could be movement. It could be reading one page of something that sharpens their thinking. The action matters less than the ownership. Because the first 5 minutes train the brain on who is in control of the day. And the brain remembers. Picture a mid-level manager and a founder working in the same industry. Same hours, same pressure. The manager opens Instagram at 7:04 a.m. The founder writes one sentence in a notebook. Over 12 months, the founder has written 365 sentences of strategic clarity. The manager has scrolled 460 minutes of other people's highlights. The gap didn't come from talent. It came from 7:04 a.m. These next 3 work together. Miss one and the others weaken. Every incomplete task leaves an open loop in working memory. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished actions consume cognitive bandwidth whether you notice or not. Winners close loops. Not because they're disciplined robots, because they understand that mental clutter compounds. They finish what they start, even the small things. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that self-distancing, speaking to yourself in the third person during stress, measurably reduces anxiety and improves performance. Not I can't do this. Instead, what does someone who handles this well actually do right now? One question, different outcome. Winners talk to themselves like a coach, not a critic. They also shrink the goal until starting is frictionless, not run 5 miles. Just put on the shoes, not write the chapter, just open the document. James Clear's research on habit stacking shows that reducing the activation energy of a behavior is more predictive of follow-through than motivation level. Motivation fluctuates. Friction doesn't lie. Most people manage their calendar. Winners manage their energy. A 2021 study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that high performers don't work more hours, they work in higher quality windows. They identify when their cognitive performance peaks, and they protect that window aggressively. They say no to low-value meetings. They delay draining conversations. They don't spend peak mental energy on administrative tasks. The person who works 6 focused hours beats the person who works 10 scattered ones. Every time. The question isn't how much time you have, it's whether you're spending your best hours on your most important work. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Everything so far, the morning, the loops, the energy, those are the habits people can see. the visible layer. But the next two operate underneath all of that. They're the ones you can't observe from the outside. They're the ones that explain why two people with identical routines end up in completely different places 5 years later. Most content stops before it gets here. We're not stopping. The average adult consumes over 11 hours of media per day, according to Nielsen's 2023 Total Audience Report. Winners are not consuming 11 hours of media. They are selective, almost to a degree that looks antisocial from the outside. They curate what enters their mind the way a high-performance athlete curates what enters their body. Feed it panic, it produces reactive decisions. Feed it clarity, it produces deliberate ones. A retired school teacher spent 40 years reading one book per month and one long-form article per week on a topic she was genuinely curious about. No social media. Limited news. At 68, she could hold a conversation on economics, history, and human psychology with more depth than most people half her age. Her input diet built her mind the way compound interest builds a portfolio. Slowly, invisibly, undeniably. The seventh habit is the quietest one. They end each day with one honest question. Not a journal, not a productivity review, just one question. Did I move toward what matters today or away from it? No judgment attached. No performance required. Just an honest answer. According to research from Harvard Business School, workers who reflected for just 15 minutes at the end of each day showed a 23% improvement in performance after 10 days compared to those who didn't. Reflection is not passive. It is the mechanism by which experience becomes competence. Without it, experience is just time passing. Now, pull back even further. According to a 2023 McKinsey Global Institute report, less than 8% of the global workforce consistently practices even 2 or 3 deliberate performance habits. 8%. Across every industry, every country, every income level. That means the 7 habits we've just covered are not common knowledge made uncommon by laziness. They are genuinely rare behaviors practiced by a small fraction of people worldwide, and the outcomes they produce reflect that rarity directly. The people you look at and think were born with something you weren't, most of them weren't born with it. They built it, habit by habit, day by day, in the moments nobody was watching. So why does none of this feel like enough? Because the results are invisible for a long time. That's the cruelest part of habit building. You do the work in private for months and nothing appears to change. Meanwhile, someone else posts a transformation, announces a promotion, shares a win, and your brain interprets your own silence as failure. That's not failure. That's compounding doing its job below the surface. Think about a seed. You water it every day, nothing visible for weeks. You have no idea whether it's working. And then one morning, it breaks through. The people who quit in week 3 never see week 8. They weren't less talented. They were less patient with invisible progress. The gap between winners and everyone else is not intelligence. It is the willingness to keep showing up when the results haven't shown up yet. That tolerance for invisible compounding, that is the real habit underneath all 7. The 7 habits: owning the morning, closing loops, coaching your inner voice, shrinking the goal, protecting energy, curating inputs, and reflecting honestly, are not 7 separate practices. They are one system. Each one reinforces the others. Pull any one out and the structure weakens. Build all 7 and you are not just more productive. You are compounding differently than almost everyone around you. The one thing worth doing today is this. Pick the single habit from these 7 that you've been meaning to start and have kept postponing. Not the easiest one, the one that would change the most if you actually did it. Start the smallest possible version of it tomorrow morning before you open your phone. If your habits stayed exactly as they are today, not your goals, not your intentions, just your daily habits. Where will you actually be in 3 years?